English Flow Podcast with Kei and Leo.
Hey everyone! Welcome back to the English Flow Podcast, your cozy, happy place to practice real English, feel good, and enjoy the journey. I'm Kei, your friend and guide on this adventure, and I'm so excited you're here today.
And I'm Leo. Seriously, we love that you're joining us, whether you're listening while you're having breakfast, going for a walk, or just relaxing on the sofa. We're here to bring you good vibes and help you grow your English step by step.
Absolutely. No stress, no judgment, just real, friendly English that helps you feel more confident every day.
Today's episode is all about how to become fluent faster, but with a big dose of positivity and self-kindness. We'll share simple tips, real stories, and fun ideas you can use right away.
So make yourself comfy. Grab your coffee, tea, or snack, and let's flow together. You've got this. So, Leo, let's start with this big question. How do people really become fluent fast?
Good question. First, we need to be real. There's no magic pill. We hear about people becoming fluent in 3 months, and while that might be true for a tiny percentage in very specific situations, for most of us, it's not about finding a secret shortcut that bypasses all the effort. It's more about finding the most effective, most enjoyable path.
Exactly. If someone tells you there's one secret technique that will make you fluent overnight, it's probably too good to be true. True fluency isn't a magical transformation that happens instantly. It's a beautiful journey built on consistent, intentional effort, and most importantly, on building sustainable habits.
That's right. Instead of a magic pill, think of it as building a consistent routine, like watering a plant every day. You don't see the plant grow inches overnight, but over time, with consistent care, it flourishes. The same applies to language learning. It's those daily, sometimes tiny actions that compound into big results.
Absolutely. And when we talk about those habits and mindsets that make fluency faster, it really starts with something fundamental: daily exposure. You need to invite English into your life every single day in some form.
Yes, listen every day, even if it's just 10 minutes. It trains your ear. And you don't always have to understand every single word. Your brain learns patterns naturally. This is a huge relief for many learners because they feel like if they don't understand everything, they're not learning. But that's simply not true.
That's so true, Leo. Think about how babies learn their first language. They're just surrounded by it. They don't have flashcards or grammar lessons. They just hear it all the time, for months and months before they even say their first word. That constant, effortless exposure is what we're aiming to recreate, even if you're an adult learner.
And that's where the idea of passive listening comes in, which I love. Like this podcast. Just play it while cooking or cleaning or commuting or doing chores around the house. You're not actively trying to understand every single word or phrase, but you're still absorbing the sounds, the rhythm, the intonation. You absorb English without extra stress.
It's like a gentle bath for your brain. Even if you're not fully focused, your brain is still picking up on the music of the language, the common phrases, the speed of natural speech. It builds familiarity, and the more familiar something is, the less intimidating it becomes. You're creating a comfortable environment for English in your mind.
And it really helps with recognizing sounds. Sometimes when we're learning a new language, certain sounds are unfamiliar to our ears. Passive listening helps your brain get used to these new sounds and differentiate them, which is a foundational step for both listening comprehension and speaking. It's a low-pressure way to improve your phonetic awareness.
Exactly. And then, when you're ready, you can move into what we call active listening. This is when you give English your full attention. This is where you might choose a specific podcast episode, a short video, or even a song, and really engage with it.
So, with active listening, you might try shadowing our sentences, repeating after us, pausing, and practicing. This builds confidence fast because you're directly mimicking native speech. Shadowing is particularly powerful because you're not just listening, you're producing the sounds, the intonation, and the rhythm almost simultaneously.
Shadowing is brilliant. You're essentially training your mouth muscles and your brain at the same time. You hear a phrase, and you immediately try to say it exactly how you heard it. It helps you internalize pronunciation and feel the flow of the language in a way that just listening passively can't quite achieve.
Think of it as a speaking workout. You wouldn't expect to run a marathon without training your legs, right? Similarly, you can't expect to speak fluently without training your mouth, tongue, and brain to produce English sounds. Shadowing is a fantastic, no-pressure way to do that. You're practicing speaking without the pressure of an actual conversation.
Another aspect of active listening is really engaging with the content. Maybe you pick out 5 new words from an episode and write them down. Or you try to summarize a short paragraph you heard. This pushes your comprehension and vocabulary acquisition much further. It moves English from just sound to meaning and personal use.
And don't forget about using subtitles, especially when you're watching videos or movies. Start with English subtitles, then maybe try without them, or try with subtitles in your native language first if that's more comfortable, and then switch. It bridges the gap between what you hear and what you see, reinforcing your understanding.
So, to recap this chapter, becoming fluent isn't about a magic trick. It's about building a consistent relationship with English through daily exposure. Start with passive listening to let your brain absorb the patterns without stress, and then gradually introduce active listening techniques like shadowing and focused comprehension to build your confidence and speaking muscles.
It's all about making English a natural part of your daily life, making it enjoyable, and trusting the process. Every little bit of exposure, whether passive or active, contributes to your overall fluency journey. It's like filling a cup drop by drop. Eventually, it overflows.
And remember, the goal isn't to be perfect overnight. The goal is to consistently show up, to engage with English in ways that feel good to you, and to trust that your brain is incredibly powerful and will learn naturally over time. Consistency, not intensity, is the secret weapon here.
So our first big takeaway for becoming fluent faster is to simply immerse yourself daily. Find what works for you, whether it's listening to podcasts while you walk, singing along to English songs, or shadowing phrases from your favorite show. Just get that daily dose of English. Kei, we've talked a lot about the practical steps, listening, shadowing, but you always remind our listeners about something else that's incredibly important. Keeping your self-talk positive. Why is that so crucial in the language learning journey?
Oh, Leo, I think it's absolutely huge. It's one of the most overlooked yet most powerful aspects of learning anything, especially a language. Think about it. Your brain is constantly listening to you, and it believes what you tell it. If you constantly say things like, "My English is terrible, I can't speak well," or "I'll never understand this grammar," your brain processes that as truth. It literally creates neural pathways that reinforce those negative beliefs, making it harder to progress because you're working against yourself.
That makes so much sense. It's like setting yourself up for failure before you even begin, or constantly putting obstacles in your own way. If your inner voice is your biggest critic, it's hard to feel confident enough to even try.
Exactly. But if you shift that narrative and start saying, "I'm learning, I'm improving every day," or "every mistake I make is a step closer to fluency," your brain starts to work with you. It looks for evidence to support those positive statements. It becomes more open to new information, more resilient in the face of challenges, and more willing to take risks, like speaking in English, even if it feels imperfect. It's a complete flip in your internal operating system.
That's true. Learning a language can feel slow sometimes. And let's be honest, there are days when it feels like you're not making any progress at all. You might feel stuck on a particular grammar point, or you might struggle to express a simple thought. So it's incredibly important to remind yourself during those moments. Every podcast you listen to, every new word you learn, even every mistake you make, they're all signs of progress. They're proof that you're engaging with the language, that you're putting in the effort.
Right. No one becomes fluent overnight, and it's not a straight line up either. There will be plateaus, there will be moments of frustration, but if you're kind to yourself during those moments, if you acknowledge your effort and your persistence rather than focusing on perceived failures, you'll stay motivated and keep showing up. And staying motivated, consistently showing up, That's the real secret to becoming fluent faster. It's about building momentum not just once, but every single day.
It sounds like positive self-talk isn't just about feeling good, though that's certainly a benefit. It's a practical strategy for sustained learning. Can you give us some more concrete examples of how listeners can practice this positive language in their daily learning?
Absolutely. Instead of thinking, ugh, I can't remember that word, I'm so bad at vocabulary, try reframing it as, okay, I didn't recall that word just now, but I learned it before, and I'll review it again. My brain is making connections. Or if you make a grammatical error in conversation, instead of mentally beating yourself up, tell yourself, that's okay, I communicated my idea, and now I know something to work on next time. That's how I learn. It's about being your own best coach, not your harshest critic.
I love that. Being your own best coach. It's about shifting from a fixed mindset, where you believe your abilities are static, to a growth mindset, where you understand that your abilities can be developed through effort. When you adopt that growth mindset, every challenge becomes an opportunity, and every perceived failure becomes a lesson.
Precisely. A growth mindset fueled by positive self-talk is transformative. It frees you from the fear of judgment, especially self-judgment, which can be the most paralyzing. If you tell yourself it's okay to sound imperfect, you're much more likely to open your mouth and practice, which is essential for speaking fluency. If you're constantly worried about perfection, you'll never get started.
And it extends beyond just what you say to yourself. It's also about how you interpret feedback, how you view challenges, and how you celebrate small victories. If someone corrects your English, do you interpret it as a personal failing or as helpful guidance? Positive self-talk helps you lean into the latter.
Exactly. And this isn't about ignoring difficulties or pretending everything is easy. It's about acknowledging the difficulty, but choosing to respond with resilience and self-compassion. For instance, if a listening exercise feels really hard, instead of saying, this is too hard for me, I'm never going to get this, you could say, this is challenging, and that means my brain is working hard. I'll try again, or I'll find an easier exercise first. It's about empowering yourself.
So, to really boil it down for our listeners, how can they make positive self-talk a daily practice? What's one small thing they can do to start incorporating this mindset shift today?
One simple thing is to start a win journal or a progress log. At the end of each day, or a few times a week, just jot down 1 or 2 small things you did related to English, or one small improvement you noticed. Maybe you understood a phrase in a song, or you said a new word correctly, or you simply spent 10 minutes listening to this podcast. Recognizing these small victories trains your brain to look for the positive, to see proof of your progress.
That's a fantastic idea. It externalizes the positive reinforcement. Instead of relying solely on an inner voice, you have tangible proof of your efforts and growth. And I think another key aspect is surrounding yourself with positive influences, including the content you consume. We try to be that positive influence here on the English Flow podcast.
Yes, absolutely. And also, be patient with yourself. Positive self-talk isn't something you master overnight. Like any habit, it takes consistent effort. There will be days when that negative voice creeps in, and that's okay. Just acknowledge it, and then gently redirect your thoughts back to a more supportive and encouraging message. It's a continuous practice of self-kindness.
And this self-kindness extends to acknowledging that learning a language is a marathon, not a sprint. It's a deeply personal journey, and everyone's path to fluency is unique. Comparing yourself negatively to others is a major trap that can derail your motivation. Focus on your own growth.
Precisely. Your pace is your pace. Your journey is your journey. And by treating yourself with kindness and speaking to yourself with encouragement, you're not just making the learning process more enjoyable, you're fundamentally making it more effective. You're building resilience, confidence, and a sustainable habit that will ultimately lead you to fluency.
So the bottom line is your inner dialogue has a profound impact on your external progress. Be your own cheerleader, not your critic.
That's the ultimate secret, Leo. Self-kindness and positive self-talk are not just fluffy concepts. They are critical tools for faster and more joyful fluency.
All right, Let's get practical. We've talked about mindset, but now let's talk about action. Kei, what's one simple daily habit you'd recommend to become fluent faster? Something our listeners can start doing right away.
Okay. This might sound a little strange, but it's incredibly effective. Talk to yourself in English. Seriously, even just a few sentences. When you're making coffee, say, "I'm making coffee. It smells good." When you're walking to your car, "I'm going to the store now. It's sunny today." It trains your speaking muscles, and it helps you think in English without the pressure of a conversation with someone else. It's your private practice space.
I love that. It's such an underrated tip. It makes English part of your everyday life, not just something you do in a classroom or during a dedicated study session. It's about building those neural pathways for speaking and thinking on the fly. And mine is, keep a tiny notebook or phone note with new words or phrases you learn or hear.
Oh, that's a great one.
Yeah, review them when you're waiting in line at the grocery store or on the bus, or even when you're just relaxing on the sofa. It's micro-learning. Those little moments add up to a lot of exposure and repetition. It moves words from your passive vocabulary to your active vocabulary.
Great tip. That consistent, low-effort review is so powerful. Another one, which is also really fun, is to sing along to English songs. Find a song you love, look up the lyrics, and just belt it out. It dramatically improves your pronunciation, your rhythm, and your natural intonation. Plus, it's a joyful way to engage with the language and remember new vocabulary and context. Music is amazing for language acquisition.
Yes, absolutely. Music connects with your emotions and memory in a unique way. It's not just about the words, it's about the flow, the stress, the musicality of English. You're absorbing pronunciation patterns almost unconsciously. And of course, regular listening is a cornerstone. Podcasts like this one, watching English videos, listening to audiobooks, regular listening is like a gym for your brain, building up your comprehension and familiarizing you with natural speech patterns.
Exactly. It all comes back to consistent, gentle exposure. It's not about intense, overwhelming study sessions once a week. It's about integrating English into the fabric of your daily life in small, manageable, and enjoyable ways.
So, to summarize some of these simple daily habits, talk to yourself in English, keep a small notebook for new words and review them often, sing along to English songs, and listen regularly to English content like this podcast.
And remember, the key word here is simple. These aren't big, intimidating tasks. They are small, sustainable habits that, when done consistently, create incredible momentum for fluency. It's about building a daily rhythm with English. Can we talk about a really common barrier now, Leo? A lot of learners freeze up when they try to speak English because they're afraid to make mistakes. It's almost like they feel they have to be perfect.
Absolutely. It's a huge mental block for so many people. They want to say something, but then the fear of saying it wrong, or sounding silly, or being misunderstood just stops them dead in their tracks. But here's the truth. Mistakes are not just okay, they are the best teachers you could ask for.
Exactly. I always say, even native speakers make slips of the tongue, or use the wrong word sometimes, or make grammatical errors. Think about it. When you were learning your first language as a child, did you speak perfectly from day one? Of course not. You made thousands of mistakes, and that's how your brain learned what worked and what didn't. That's how you developed your language skills.
It's part of the process. It's feedback. If you make a mistake, often someone will gently correct you, or you'll notice it yourself later, and that's how you learn and grow. If you never try, you never get that feedback, and you never improve. It's like trying to learn to ride a bike without ever falling down. It's almost impossible.
That's such a great analogy, Leo. It really is like that. And here's a crucial mindset shift I encourage all our listeners to embrace. If you want to speak fluently, you have to speak imperfectly first. Fluency comes from flow, not perfection. You have to be willing to stumble, to pause, to search for words, and to just keep going. The goal is to communicate, not to be a walking grammar textbook.
I love that. Flow, not perfection. That's something I think everyone needs to hear, especially in the early and intermediate stages. It takes the pressure off. Because if you're constantly analyzing every single word for grammatical correctness before it even leaves your mouth, you'll never actually speak. Your brain will just get stuck in analysis paralysis.
Precisely. Try to shift your focus from, is my grammar perfect, to, did the other person understand me? If they understood you, then you succeeded. You achieved your communication goal, even if your grammar wasn't absolutely perfect. And honestly, most people are just happy that you're trying to communicate in their language. They appreciate the effort.
They really do. Think about it from the other side. When someone is speaking your native language and they make a mistake, do you judge them harshly? Or are you usually just impressed that they're making the effort? Most likely, it's the latter. English is a tool to connect, to share ideas, to build relationships, not a test to pass with a perfect score.
Exactly. And when you realize that, when you internalize that mistakes are just part of the journey, it's incredibly liberating. It makes you brave enough to open your mouth, to try new phrases, to participate in conversations. And that's where the real learning happens, through active, real-world practice, even if it's a little messy at first.
So the next time you feel that fear creeping in, just take a deep breath and remind yourself, mistakes are progress. They are proof that you are trying, that you are pushing your boundaries, and that you are actively learning. Every single mistake is a stepping stone to greater fluency.
And remember that kind self-talk we discussed? Instead of, oh no, I made a mistake, my English is terrible. Try, okay, I made a mistake, that's how I learn. Next time I'll remember. It's all about a growth mindset.
Right. Don't be afraid to experiment with new words or phrases, even if you're not entirely sure they're correct. The worst that can happen is someone might gently correct you, and then you've learned something new.
It's a win-win. Either you said it correctly, or you learned how to say it correctly for next time. There's no real loss in trying. So embrace the imperfections and just keep flowing.
Another big tip for becoming fluent faster, and this is one that I think is really underrated, is to celebrate your small wins.
Yes, this is so important. It sounds simple, but it makes a huge difference to your motivation and how you feel about your progress. Did you understand a sentence in a movie today without subtitles? Great. That's a win. Did you manage to order your coffee in English at the cafe? Amazing! That's a win!
Exactly. Or did you have a short conversation with someone, even if it was just a few sentences? Or did you learn a new word and actually use it in a sentence, even if it was just talking to yourself? These are all small victories that add up.
They absolutely do, and it's crucial to consciously acknowledge them. Our brains are often wired to notice what's missing, what we still can't do, or what mistakes we're making. But if you intentionally look for and celebrate the little bits of progress, you're training your brain to notice the good stuff, to see how far you've come.
You could even keep a little journal or a note on your phone where you quickly jot down one small win from your English learning journey each day or each week. Just a sentence. Understood a podcast without stopping, or asked for directions successfully.
I love that idea, because sometimes when you're in the middle of the learning process, it can feel slow. You might feel like you're not making progress, especially on days when you feel tired or stumble over your words. But if you have that record, those little notes, you can look back and see concrete evidence of your improvement. It's incredibly encouraging.
And when you feel encouraged, when you feel good about learning, you stick with it. You're more likely to show up tomorrow and the day after. That's the real secret to becoming fluent faster. It's not about finding some magical shortcut. It's about consistently showing up, even when it feels messy, even when you're making mistakes, and celebrating every little step forward.
Exactly. Each small win reinforces that positive cycle. You try, you succeed a little bit, you feel good, you want to try again. It builds momentum and confidence, and that momentum is what carries you forward towards fluency. So seriously, take a moment to pat yourself on the back today for something, big or small, that you did in English. You deserve it!
So let's wrap up our conversation for today. If you remember just one thing from this episode, it's this. Fluency is built daily. It's built with kind words to yourself, with brave mistakes, and with lots and lots of listening.
We really hope you feel encouraged after listening today. Remember, your English is already better than you think it is. Just keep that flow going, keep showing up, and keep being kind to yourself.
And here's a gentle challenge for you today. After this episode finishes, say 3 sentences out loud in English. It can be anything at all. Talk about your day, your breakfast, your plans for later. Just get those English words out.
Exactly. Even if it feels a little strange at first, just try it. It's a small step, but it's a powerful one. And if you liked today's episode, please consider sharing it with a friend who is also learning English, or just listen to it again later this week. Repetition is incredibly powerful for learning.
We really love having you here as part of our English Flow community. Thank you for letting us be part of your language learning journey.
And if you haven't already, please make sure to subscribe or follow our podcast so you don't miss any future episodes where we break down more useful English topics for you.
Bye-bye.